spawning in the bottom position for Genesis Gaming. Give it up for Mick Monroe. And his opponent throwing out the GLHF. Looking at you for Psistorm Gaming. It is Rough. I still don't know why people saying Protoss is OP. It's because every race is OP except for the one I play. That's kind of the way that you got to look at it. Everybody wants to be the underdog. They want to be the one who has to play better than their opponent. So that's kind of why people say that a race 1 or race 2 is OP, just because it's a little bit easier to justify your wins and make them sound a little bit better. I'm just checking a couple of things right here. All right. And yeah. Already, we're going to see some of that unorthodox play that I was mentioning for Rough, as he does have his first racks a little bit exposed, not making a wall on the low ground. And this is a little bit concerning, because if there's any sort of aggression out of Mick Monroe, then his production is going to be severely delayed. It may not seem like a lot because he is finishing the wall, but if any unit pops out on the wrong side, then this is just a really bad situation. Now, on the flip side of that, to give him some credit, if this does work, then he is going to be able to wall off his natural a lot easier and just kind of be a little bit safer that way. But there are still so many weak points in this wall. Just these two supply depots can go down very quickly to an aggressive Zerg that you have to be, you know, just really, really careful as Rough. Now, we do see Mick Monroe going to be getting some good scouting information in, just making sure that there's no cheeky shenanigans over there on the left side. And the Overlord as well, just going to be pulling up the rear. As, you know, I'm kind of just wondering when Mick Monroe's going to throw down that third base. There's always that small bit of potential where he just decides to drone up a little bit less and go for a little bit more cheekiness. But that is neither here nor there. Going back to Rough, we do see that he's kind of playing this a little bit safer, a little bit more scared, as he went straight for the siege tank. He's getting that bunker up, so he's probably expecting a little bit of either roaches or a Bane bust, something like that. And the kind of problem with this is he's delaying his builds a little bit because he won't have any presence out on that map at all. Now, you know, no Hellions, no 211, just a siege tank defending about 6 SCVs. And by the way, more than likely, this is going to be mech from Rough. I don't really see him going bio too often. And just with how much gas he is going to be starting to bank up here, just take a look at that. This is going to be really big big brain strats. All right, Zeiss, you go have a good one, man. Have a good stream. Go. Yeah, there you go. Fusion core is gonna be going down, and he did get in there, did Mick Monroe, and got pretty much all the information that he needs. Knowing Rough that there's only one reason that you need that much gas, and with this Overlord coming in, that's pretty much just all the confirmation that he wants. There you go. He is fully on the battle cruiser defense. Instantly throwing down that Roach Warren, knowing that there's not going to be that much to help defend. And indeed, that's true. There still isn't any additional siege tanks. The entirety of his natural is defended by 4 units total. And So with that, we got the Spire coming down as well. That's pretty good. I think if you're going to go for Corruptors, you do have to do it kind of quickly. For Roaches, I think it's a little bit easier to kind of just plow through your opponent, knowing that there's going to be nothing. And so just kind of splitting your gas up between gas-expensive Corruptors and gas-cheap Roaches might be a tall sell in some instances here. But there you go, as we do have the 3 factories going down behind this. So even though he is going to be going pretty heavy onto the battle cruisers for just a little bit longer, you really can't make a full Terran death ball with them. And there you go, Scan gonna go down. He sees the Roaches, he sees the Spire, and that he's gonna say, to heck with it, I'm coming straight in for the kill. Looks like he's gonna focus it down. It just barely gets up. The transfuses are good, but that means less transfuse energy for the Queens, and they will go down in the end. Ruff, though, will lose one of those battle cruisers, so 1 battle cruiser for the Spire. I don't know if that's a really good trade for him there. Indeed, he's gonna try and get out of here, but the creep allowing the Queens to come so far forward. He will get the double snipe. And now we do see that kind of transition coming out. He's going straight into Thor's, expecting the Corruptors. Aspire is the standard response. Yeah, that's true. Roaches do help out with the Hellions a lot, but so far he hasn't seen any Hellions whatsoever. So that's why I was a little bit confused. But, you know, I digress. We've got the Thors coming out. He's going to be having those +1 upgrades, but, I mean, just taking a look at the supply, that is a pretty big deal for him. Currently, Mick Monroe is almost double the army supply, double the worker supply. His economy, completely untouched. And he is spreading that creep like a madman. Alright, so things have slowed down just a little bit. Ruff can't really afford to move out with this very expensive army. He's gonna have to just try and take that 3rd base, get up that gas count, and hope that Mick Monroe isn't going for a big swell of units. Already we do kind of see that he's starting to add on plenty of Roaches, plenty of Ravagers that will help against these slow lumbering units. And yeah, game will continue. Right now he does see, actually he hasn't seen this yet, but that's a lot of Corruptors. Just because he has transitioned out of the battle cruisers, that's not the best of intentions, but you know, with those Corruptors, we don't really see a lot of anti-air on the ground in terms of that static defense. You can kind of see there's no missile turrets or anything. So those Corruptors are going to have the opportunity to just pee on all these buildings and shut those down very, very quickly. As well, Mick Monroe is kind of just dancing around the front of the 3rd. The siege tank line will hold strong. But here we go. The Corruptors are going to be the big indicator here. They'll be able to get that base pretty easy because the Thor's not going to be fast enough. Even going to try and repair it, but as you guys know, oh no, he actually canceled the canceled that, so he will save the CC, gets one of the Thors, and will back off. Siege tanks will siege up as well. Gonna get that. Now, yeah, he's just trying to save this orbital command. Mick Monroe knows that he doesn't have to be too aggressive up here, although this was a little bit of a pathing issue, losing all of those Ravagers. Oh my goodness, that was a really good trade for Ruff. Okay, gets a kill on the CC. He's even going to just go for the missile turret. Nice and easy as we got the battlecruiser coming back in for another pass. Transfuse is going to be good to save a good majority of these queens, so they will be able to shoo that away. But 2 drones did fall. Honestly, given the worker supply, I don't think he's really too worried about that. But now it comes down to the swarm hosts. Just the fact that he has this creep so far forward, touching into Ruff's third, means that he's going to be able to be very effective at rotating around with these units. And we do see, going to get right on top of this. 1 siege tank will go down. The Hellions will be enough to clean the rest of it. But now, just Ruff cannot clean up these locations anymore. He's down 100 supply. He's very turtle, right? He's pretty much a turtle in its shell in the purest form of that. And McMurrow really doesn't have to push into this at any point. He can just slowly but surely starve his opponent on these 3 bases. Indeed. Look at the supply. That supply even going down further as he gets a couple of more siege tanks with those biles, the corruptors, kind of just hanging out, being that nuisance. And yeah, I think McGron, like, it's really a little bit too early to call anything, since, you know, these guys are still playing it out, and finally Ruff is going to be sending a little bit of harassment down his way. But I think McMonroe probably has this one in the bag, sans one really bad engagement where he just walk moves his army into everything. And here we go, gonna get right on top of those Thors. The biles are good. Will he have enough to really close this down? Looks like the answer is yes, as the SCVs were not repairing. A good mineral line harassment. We'll get 8 drones, but look at this. No third base whatsoever. And he is really going to be struggling here. You know, I just don't know really what else to say about it. Hive coming in. Hydralisk Den for good measure. Scan going to go down. Sees that he hasn't even used up all that larva, even though he's sitting on 4K, 2K. A little bit of a BM. Not necessarily BM, but a Manor Hatch coming on in. Here we go. Wouldn't mind trying to zone out these roaches, but the biles will be good enough to deal with that. Not focus firing down the CC, but he will get plenty of these SCVs. Yeah, from here. Okay, this is nice. That is also nice to cut into that bank. He's making 44 overlords, so McMonroe is just styling at this point. He's got to be careful not to let that bite him in the butt, as he doesn't really have a wayward defense for these battle cruisers just yet. He's gonna have to bring home the corruptors, and remember, each one of these have Yamato cannon. So if you're fighting with 7 corruptors, you're only fighting with about 3. As those start to fall, the Transfuse is doing a world of wonders. He's just trying to hold on for that teleport. He's still got about 5 seconds, and that means all of them will go down. If you just take a look up here, he did send all those OVs right there. And that is going to be it for our first game of the night. Now, if you guys are just tuning in, there is a little bit problem with Psistorm. They don't really have a ton of players available to them right now, but it looks like they're actually starting to show up. So, you know, maybe there's not going to be any walkovers, which is really good. I would really prefer there not being any walkovers, since they need to win pretty much as many games as possible. All right, so our next map is Oxide. So let us see who we are going to get with this one. All right, so it looks like we've got our first player, Genesis, hopping on in. I saw Psistorm's guy. But, let's see if we can get... Let's see if we can get one of Psistorm's players in here. They do have a pretty rounded out roster. Plenty of Terrans, plenty of Zergs, plenty of Protoss. So I'm just checking something real quick as we have one guy hanging out here. All right, here we go. Let's get that going. And here we go. Like I said, it's going to be Oxide map number 2. Hope you guys are having a good night. Sorry about the little bits of the delay. As, you know, it takes some time sometimes for these live events to get everybody to where they need to be. Especially in North America, you guys know the struggle. So, let's see. Press the button. Switch the scene. Here we go. Spawning down here in the bottom. Give it up for Genesis Gaming's Galaxy. And his opponent up here in the top. He may know nothing, but he's also playing for Psistorm Gaming. He is Jon Snow. You know, I actually do think about it every time I see his name. That show, Game of Thrones, was so bad in the last season that I don't think I have actually heard anybody speaking about it except for in meme form for the last like 10 years or whenever the last time it was on. So anytime you see Jon Snow, it's like, oh yeah, that's from that one show with the person and the dragon. Maybe. But you know what? I think John does know a lot, as he's a very good North American Zerg. We saw him in week number 1 in the X versus Exxon Nina. I will remember my English tonight. I give you that promise. But versus the Exxon Nina team, he did go for a very aggressive, not Baneling bust, but a very aggressive Zergling pressure, which once it smells that blood in the water, he just absolutely turned on the heat and just kept going and going. So Galaxy is going to have to be very careful not to repeat that same mistake, as He does have his wall started off right now, his cybernetics core, his nexus, and we should be seeing that third gateway, or second gateway rather, just to close things off. So this probe as well just wants to kind of hang out for a little bit, make sure that he is counting the number of lings coming out. Might be the depth of them if he's not careful. He will get out of there with that, and it's going to be Stargate on his side of the map. So with Stargate, the obvious thing, we see it in IEM. We've seen it pretty much for the majority of the last 5 to 6 months. Void Rays have been a very crucial part to the Protoss meta. We see him going either double Stargate Void Ray production. Sometimes they'll just go up to about 6 off of one a gate, and then they'll transition into either a very heavy High Templar Archon charge lot army to deal with Hydralisks underneath, or they just go straight for that sky toss, and Zerg players have been having some trouble dealing with it once it gets to that late game situation. So we'll have to see if Jon Snow can actually recognize this. He is going to be sending one of those overlords in. It will get a view of the first Void Ray, so that's a pretty big tell for his records. He's going to send all the lings back home, bunch them up, and then go again. Looks like he's just going to maybe want to get confirmation of that third base. The Void Ray is in position to defend, as well as the Adepts. So Jon can't really risk losing those lings, even though they're very cheap. At this point, you don't want to be remaking them. And yeah, the Void Ray doing a pretty good job on the defense. Also, thank you, Pili Pili, for the follow, my man. Oracle as well going to be coming in. Gets a couple of cheeky kills. Will go towards the third, but the Queen is in position there as well. And yeah, there we go. That second Stargate coming down. He'll be going up a good number of these voids before the full transition. And so, honestly, I think the best way for Jon to deal with it would have been to get up to a layer a little bit quicker. Maybe drop that Roach Warren and go for a very big timing push. But he's still going to have the ability to do so with the Queen support. Obviously, the German Taxi, or the Soul Strut, I believe it's called, when they just walk. And now Jon's just kind of opening up a couple of different angles of attack, and getting the rocks down is going to be pretty crucial so that he doesn't get kind of outpositioned with the air army coming out of his opponent. So from here, we got that +1. All these additional queens. And honestly, if you're going to go for that kind of strut across the map with the queens, the couple of things that you do need is a shorter rush distance and the creep to come out. And Jon does have both of them right now. He's just got to be careful not to hit too late, because by the time, if he goes a little bit too late, he's going to get kind of caught out by the number of Archons and the lots available against him. And now we see the queens a little bit exposed. They will be able to transfuse themselves, save themselves the trouble, as they're kind of just pushing that creep out a little bit. Oh no, this is a little bit of a dangerous situation. got so many overlords rallied across. Those are pretty good pickings here for the Void Rays. But here we go. 10 roaches on the production tab. 9 ravagers coming on in. That creep is knocking on Galaxy's front door. Other than the Void Rays in the sky, he doesn't really have a lot on the ground to kind of buffer. But you do have to be careful as Jon Snow not to get yourself caught in this choke point. Especially not with the Sentry energy available to him. I digress on that point. He's going to clear up the rocks, and this is pretty much just waiting for the store to open on Black Friday. Pulls off one of the lings to keep away from that hazardous stasis trap. And now this is the position where Jon Snow, at 178 supply, wants to close this one out. A couple of good biles, making sure that Galaxy can't come too far forward. The Queen's still in a very heavy number as well. 4 more on the production. And it looks like Jon is slowly trying to break his way in. We don't see any warp-ins from Galaxy. There we go. He has to add on some additional Archons to deal with this. But a really good concave. It looks like Galaxy is getting a little bit impatient and he's trying to fight into a bad position. Void Rays all going down. Oh my god. If that didn't happen, he might have had a little bit of a better opportunity, but now there is absolutely no way. Shield battery overcharge being popped way too late to save a good majority of those units. And now Galaxy down half the supply and below 100. Will, he's going to try and hold on for dear life. But there's no energy left available to him. And there you go. Psistorm is on the board. You know what? That's what I love about Jon Snow. He's the one that you send out in these team leagues when you're tired of your opponent being happy. I think that's really the best way to put it, because he will turn that frown into a deeper frown. As we're going to be going on to a shorter map for map number 3. Let's see who both sides are going to pick up. Let me exit some of these very annoying whispers, as I am in way too many lobbies as well. Oh my goodness. But I hope you guys are having a fantastic night. If you guys want to catch up on how this is going, obviously we got Winter Gaming streaming the other group right now, and if you want to check out the last couple of weeks, I did upload them to YouTube. I finally got that working, so that's down in the description below. And yeah, those were some pretty epic games, not just for Exxon Nina versus Psistorm in week 1, but Exxon Cham and his team fighting the NA Clowns. It was a really good one as well. But let us just see who is going to be brought out. There's a couple of different options for Psistorm. They do still have some of their heaviest hitters on the roster available to them. And of course, for the 5th match, if they so desire, they can bring someone back from the dead. And it looks like we do have Psistorm's players coming in. Let's see who Genesis counters this with. Let me see. He's not joining. All right. So, submarine. A much shorter map for the guys involved, which does mean that, you know, it's kind of perfect for North America. If you guys know North America, it's known for its very aggressive builds on all sides. And let me, so with that shorter rush distance, you do have a lot of kind of options available to you. And it looks like we're finally going to get our player in here. It's going to be a ZVZ for this one. That's all I'm going to say until I introduce the players. And yeah, I'm wondering how you guys are doing tonight. I know I probably asked that already, but you know what? I'm super interested in how you guys' Friday nights are going. Obviously, I get to cast StarCraft 2 on a Friday night, so I am feeling really good. And here it comes. You can hear that ticking down as we have a big old good luck in the lobby chat. These guys, oh, they got to give some good respect to each other. They've both been around for a while now. They got some good stuff under their belt. And you know what? I'll stop making innuendos about them. Wink, wink. As spawning. Down here in the bottom position, he's representing Psistorm. Give it up for Namshar. And his opponent, with a very early timing on that spawning pool, he's Genesis Gaming's NYK. So this is about as aggressive as you can get for NYK. Namshar is going to be complementing this. Excuse me, not complementing it. He is going to be countering it with a little bit of a later pool on 16. But it's going to come down to how aggressive, how much is he going to commit to this. We already have 6lings on the way. We should be having a couple of additional soon. And behind it, he is going to be going straight into his natural hatchery. So this is really just to try and catch Namshar off guard and delay him for a little bit. It's not necessarily meant to kill him. So here we go, the lings coming across. They are going to just barely skirt out of vision, it looks like, for Namshar. He's just now going to see them, and that's going to start ringing the alarm bells a little bit. The question is he going to bring down some of those drones and try and defend the natural, or is he just going to sacrifice that location? If he sacrifices it and decides not to defend it, then he's going to be so far behind, it's not even funny. Yeah, there you go. A ton of drones being pulled. Some good micro coming out, just making sure that he doesn't lose any of these low HP Zerglings. And the Dance of Death has begun in full earnest. Now, NYK did make a couple of additional drones, or excuse me, a couple of additional lings to send across, so this is still very committed out of him. He's going to be delaying any sort of drone production until just now. Now he's actually going to get cleaned up, as an unfortunate surround for these guys doesn't get... Okay, he got 2 drones. Definitely not what you're expecting, as you're still behind by 1. Yeah, killing off 12 lings for those gains is not really worth it, as it allows Namshar to now push his way across. NYK still has not started speed, just now beginning, so it's going to be so far delayed that Namshar is going to be able to run circles around his units. And now this is, oh my goodness, this is going to be a good counterattack. It looks like Namshar not going to commit, however. Just going to play it a little bit more safe in case there's something like a Baneling Nest or speed is just about to pop. He doesn't want to throw away any sort of advantage that he might have. We're looking to get around, but not gonna. He's gonna get us around on one of those queens. That's gonna be a very expensive queen for him to get, as he loses a good majority of those lings. But you know what? I don't think he really cares. He's popping out an additional 14, and he's just gonna keep this aggression going. Neither side droning up, as they are just going full on ling war from this point on. And the question is, who is going to try and macro their way out of it first? And it looks like that's going to be Namshar going up to that third base while still simultaneously putting on the pressure to try and force NYK to only make additional lings. Yeah, there you go. The Baneling Nest follow-up is just going to be another factor that NYK is going to have to contend with if he doesn't win it here. He currently has a very, very small lead in the ling count, but losing that, he's going to have to retreat. And now from here, we don't see roaches, we don't see lair, we don't see upgrades out of NYK. So that's going to give Namshar just another one of those little angles with the Baneling Nest, with the additional lings coming in. By the way, I don't think either of these guys have made a drone in like 2 to 3 minutes. And for NYK, that's an even bigger deal since he only has about 1 base worth of saturation. But Namshar doing a really good job of baiting away a good majority of those lings, giving him time to build up the Baneling count. And now, NYK might just want to go for a counterattack, and it looks like that is indeed the case. Namshar just barely inching his way forward as NYK gets cleaned up in the backfield. The wall is down, and I think from here, Namshar can really just push it home. Yeah, the Baneling's at the top, gonna stop the run by. And there you have it. Namshar bringing up a theoretical match point in this series. And so now we go from a small map to a much larger battlefield. Let me see how to spell it, because Blizzard is not allowing me to just regular search for a map. Natha. There we go. And let us see who we've got next coming out. Also going to leave a couple of additional chats because tabbing is annoying. And so if you guys want to know a little bit more about this, this is a Pro League style event. So you only get 1 revive on that 5th game. So that is going to be the big contender here. Do you decide to bring someone back for that, or are you going to send someone out completely new? And I know I'm talking about the 5th game while we're in the 4th, but you got to start thinking about these things as the team captain. All right. So we aren't fielding Pilly today. It's his break week. That's okay. You know what? Pilly does need one. He's a hard-working dude. Like, really cool. My earliest memory in competitive StarCraft 2, and this is kind of funny because I'm sure he hasn't remembered a dang thing about it, is I was playing in the ESL NA Open, and my first round pick was Pili. And now I was gold at the time. And so he killed me with 3 oracles. So that was pretty funny. That's just a little personal anecdote. So, just a heads up, it is a walkover for map number 4, as Psistorm couldn't find a 4th player. And we're going to go straight into map number 5. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, looks like I was given some wrong information by you, chat. Okay, he is west. That makes more sense. Whip him out of his bed. Yeah, there you go. Where is he at? I'm curious. Where is he at on the West Coast? Because I know he's like from Kazakhstan or from somewhere in Europe. I actually didn't know that he came to the States. Oh, I know Monroe is definitely a troll. We just watched him in that first game show his best trolliness. But you know what? I love it. There is no such thing as a bad troll except for a bad troll. And, you know, we were speaking about this guy quite a bit. Spawning up here in the top position, representing Genesis Gaming. Give it up for Pili. And his opponent. Down here in the bottom, he has been revived for game number 5. Just like in the series. He's Jon Snow. Okay, so obviously we know how this is. We know how this is going to go. As Jon Snow obviously is not going to want Pili Pili to have any sort of advantage. He doesn't want to let him get up to that very scary Sky Toss army. He's not going to let him roll over him with Adept Glaives. He's going to try and kill him. And I say that in the best way possible. Pili Pili obviously not going to want that to happen, so he's going to give it his all in this one as well. He renounced his cat. Oh, okay, cool. Welcome, welcome, Pili. Yeah, you know what? If you guys didn't make the first video of him in the States eating a cheeseburger or something, then I am very disappointed in Genesis Gaming. Already, we do see a very big commitment to the Lings out of Jon. He does have 8 on the production tab. 4 have just popped. And the good thing about Death Aura is that you are able to kind of defend your ramp a little bit easier with that two building setup. The problem is you're gonna be trying to go up to what looks to be Adept Glaive. And that means you're gonna have to pump out a ton of units, maybe slow yourself down a little bit, and yeah, he's gonna have to chrono out something to block off the wall. Looks like Jon taking a bit of a more roundabout way, losing the Overlord as well to that Stalker hanging out. And I guess Jon just kind of biding his time, preparing himself for when he thinks he's not going to really expect it. There we go. Speed is complete. Just adding on that additional gateway. He's got the robo facility, so as long as he can hold on, that glaive is going to do wonders for him. But that's the key point right now, is he has to hold on the probe. Gonna drop the pylon in the back. He's going to be able to finish off the wall. Unfortunately, this does mean that these Lings have a much bigger surface area, and one of those Adepts is out of position. So that's going to go down, and now he's not making any additional. So he is going to lose a lot of gateways here. Oh my goodness, an unfortunate warp in right there. Jon is not going to be transitioning out of this. He is not going to let this one go on for much further. And look at that. You can't actually build anything right there because of the plates. So if he loses that side of the wall, this is over. Shield battery overcharge has been popped. It is just, I think, barely out of range of that gateway. Oh, okay, Magnetics YouTube. I get what you're saying there. Wink, wink. But the wall is almost down. He did get rid of those plates just because he knows he needs to, but the rest of it is gone. The probes are pulled for the very last time. Oh no, this is just not how you want it to go as Pili Pili. He had the good setup. Immortal, not what you need, and that does mean that Psistorm Gaming takes the series 3-2.